good morning, everyone. We are here with another Zoom into Books presentation sponsored by Headline Books. And today we are chatting with award-winning author Don Stansberry about his children's books. Welcome, Don.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. How are you doing?
Fantastic, fantastic. We have been chatting with you for the past few weeks here on Zoom Into Books, and we began talking about your novels, and then we started talking about your middle grade books, and then today we're discussing your children's books. So you write across all different genres. So before we get started, if folks haven't seen your previous presentations, can you chat a little bit about what it's like to write in so many different genres?
Well, it never starts out as choosing one. Well, I won't say that. Maybe once it did, but usually it's the idea. You come up with a kind of an idea or a theme, and then you think which genre would it fit in best. Some of I like the horror part. I like the long kind of introducing characters, and that normally goes towards a novel. The shorter things maybe for the tweeners, and then the picture books. Really, the story tells as much of the picture as the words do. So it's whatever the idea lends itself to.
Absolutely. And it's so neat because sometimes you have authors who just focus on one certain thing. So it's really great that you can, write in so many different aspects. That's fantastic.
Well, I kind of wish I could just focus on. I mean, I wish I could blend everything into like novels. Novels seem very fulfilling to me. But again, unless I do a whole bunch of strange stories coming together, I haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why writing is so great because you can do whatever you can make it whatever you want. So talking about your picture books, the name of your picture book is Crusty. So before we jump into the story itself, can you talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this book?
Yes. Well, this is the one book that I thought, well, I really wanted an idea for this general purpose. I did a lot of school visits with the two tweener books, the early reader or mid reader books, and I didn't have anything for the smaller kids. They got really excited that an author was there. They, just enthusiastic, but I didn't have anything to give them or for them to buy. So I thought, well, I really would like to do a picture book. So I kind of, researched it a lot, went through, bought a lot, read as many as I could. And I came up with my limited drawing ability. I came up with, it would be better for me to draw like a creature in an environment that I could control. So I thought, underwater was the best thing for me to start with. So I started working with different kinds of fish, different, I went through eels, I went through creatures I made up on my own, and I kind of settled on a crab.
That's excellent. And we can see it there behind you, your little Crusty.
Yeah, that's something I do have some of the, well, I don't know how well you can see this. That would be, some of the original sketches, and you can see that the crab isn't exactly how it turned out in the end.
Yeah.
But then some of the other creatures like this, I worked on, and then, something like this came out to be one of the big creatures. But again, these kind of evolved over the span of the book into what I could draw and what I wanted it to look like.
And that's one of the challenges of being an illustrator is keeping your character consistent throughout the book. And when you're first developing your character, you settle on how it's supposed to look and you're happy with it and you draw the book, and sometimes you'll notice that the style has changed from the beginning of the book to the end, because you get different ideas and you just start drawing the character, like morphing it without even realizing it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I had to go back and, just continually go back and forth to see, well, if I messed this up, if I change this, does it look different? Mm-hmm. And, I should point out right here, and probably should have all along, that, Ashley's just not a great interviewer here and helping me out, but she's also a big time illustrator. And this isn't a setup or anything, but how many books, do you have any idea how many books you've illustrated?
Several.
Well, I think it's probably closer to, more than dozens and dozens. It's probably up into the triple digits now. And she's also got a big time contract for big time books with with the publishing companies you've heard of, you know, the big time stuff. So she is actually big time.
Well, thank you, Don. I appreciate it. And it is, it's such a fun job. And being able to express yourself with both writing and illustrating in your case is wonderful because there are certain things that you get out of an illustration that you can't get out of the text. And that's the wonderful thing about picture books is that you can allow the pictures to carry a lot of the narrative. And I
Yeah.
know, you know, it's amazing because you can essentially tell two stories.
Yeah, and you have to. That's another thing that that I found frustrating is to not be able to get the pictures to look like the words, and it takes just a lot of honing, at least for me, uh, to get them to match up and convey the same emotions. Because a lot of the things that a lot of the creatures that I've drawn have faces that show very little emotion. So you have to do it with body language. You have to do it with maybe an eyebrow or a look, and then hopefully the words blend with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, that's the fun about being an illustrator is that you can tell what's not happening in the words. So,
Yeah,
you know, it's so much fun and it really, especially when you're doing both, you know, like to illustrate your own words, I would just think is awesome.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and two, now some of the other, maybe you can see these a little bit better. These were some of the more final sketches I've just
oh,
done.
great.
That's one of the creatures in there that I could just make up and just do whatever I wanted to with. Uh, this was another one that how Crusty finally turned out. Okay, these are some of the ones that before the book came out at Tamarack, I would put this up, and you know, coming in the fall of 2008. So that's been what 12 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that's the year I graduated from high school, Dawn.
Well, you know, time's rolling by. But you know, that's just some of the ways that it changed over the period of the work being in progress.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's so neat when you go back like now and look at how you began with your sketches to final product. It's really amazing how you can see the evolution of the character and the style.
And just you know, for me, it took. I didn't just draw the characters. I just started drawing. If I saw a picture of something, I tried to draw it. You know, that was great for me because when I sit down to write, I have to be by myself. It has to be quiet. But when I'm drawing, I can sit with my family, watch TV, do it, and you know, do it at the same time. So I can be with people and still be getting some work done.
Absolutely, yes. And that's the other fun thing, especially about, you know, digital art, is you can do it anywhere you want. You know, you can take your iPad or your drawing tablet and just, you know, knock out some work, you know, in between meetings, or if you're, you know, having to wait somewhere. It's really fun.
Well, that's where we're different. Because you're a master of that. You're a master of the digital stuff. I would end up throwing the whole thing and, you know, just saying, please let me just have a pencil.
I understand. I understand. I still sketch traditionally and then
Well,
do,
yeah, you can tell with your work that it's a blend.
yes, it
You're a
is.
master of both.
Well, thank you. So, would you like to jump into Crusty and have a look inside the book?
Okay, sure.
All right.
Okay, yeah, well, now I can't tell how well you're seeing this.
If you want to hold it next to you, then yeah, that's good. Yeah, right
Okay,
there.
it's easier for me to do this. Can you see the whole picture?
If you hold it up just a bit, we'll be good.
Okay, so I'll give you the quick 3-minute story. Okay, so
Okay.
this is about Krusty. He's different from the other crabs because he can think, he has feelings. These other crabs, they're mean, they're greedy, they steal from each other. And doesn't want any part of that, so he goes off on his own to find his own food source, which ends up being these berries. But once he eats the berries, he changes color. Just like that's how pink flamingos get pink from eating a certain kind of shrimp. You know, they're just regular flamingos, but with their food source changes their color. So that's what happened with him. So he's changed his color. He goes back to his house to find, to tell everybody that there's new food source, but now he's a different color. He's changed on them. They don't know what to think about him. So he decides he's going to go off on his own for good. So he goes off, travels. He finds this fish who becomes his first friend ever but the fish can't talk. So he has to do all the talking for both of them. He finds out that the fish eats the same berries as he has found, but the fish can't stand them. So now he has a friend who can't talk, who doesn't like to eat the same food. But anyhow, they get along. They explore the underwater world. They go into different places together. They even go to this dangerous place called the Deep Dark, where all the really scary creatures live. The fish doesn't want to go there, but they do. And though Crusty does know it, this huge creature rises up behind him, almost gets him, but the fish saves him. So they're out exploring one day. They find this egg. Well, they tap on it, and this thing comes out. It thinks that they're the parents, so it follows them home. Okay, they're kind of scared of it at first, but after a while, they learn to love it. They play with it. They teach it games. They explore the underwater world with it. The only problem is it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until one day it just disappears.
If you hold it up just a tad more, then there you go.
It disappears, and they're heartbroken. So they spend the next few years trying to find it. They even go to the dangerous place again. So they're there one day. These two creatures rise up, almost attack him, and this huge creature rises up out of the deep, saves him, and they realize that this is the little creature that they raised. So they have kind of a tearful reunion with him because they realize it can't live with them anymore in the shallow water. But in the end, it's a happy resolution because they realize it wasn't a he, it was a she, and it leaves them another egg, and they start the whole story over. So there's a lot of grandparents raising kids now. There's a lot of kids that don't like the situation they're in, so that it's kind of fallen on them to have their responsibility to change that situation. So that's what Crusty's done through the whole book.
Excellent. So since you can tilt there you go. Now we can see your face.
I feel like I'm in a box. I just keep bouncing back and forth like Pong.
I know. It's definitely a new way to interact with people here. So since having the book out, do you visit schools? Do you do signings with this book? And if you want to chat a little bit about that.
I have. I mean, I've gone to libraries and done readings. We've taken it to Christmas shows, places like that, holiday things. During the holidays, we wrap it up in bows and give, presents. I was at Tamarack again one time, and a lady said, "Oh, that book is in our house that we rent every summer." So somebody had bought it and left it there. The amazing thing to me is people see it from Maryland and want to buy it and take it home because they eat crabs all the time. No, that's probably not a good thing.
You got to know your audience, I guess.
It's strange. But yeah, I mean, and again, because of the publisher, Kathy Teets, I mean, that it's a great cover, and she put all that together, which it means that, that's the first thing person stops them walking through a hallway or an aisle. And as soon as then I can tell them the story. But, that first look at the book, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, you do judge books by their covers when you're just walking by. I mean, especially at, trade shows, at bookstores, there's so much competition, and, yours has to stand out. So speaking of trade shows, I know that you've been to Book Expo America, and you've been, to a lot of the bigger trade shows. Do you want to chat a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we went to, it was in Cincinnati, and I think it was a Catholic schools. It was a Catholic schools thing where, they would come and buy books, and it was the whole conference was for Catholic schools. Well, at that time, we had, to get people to come to the booth, we had keys, and these keys would open up a treasure box, and there would be money and stuff. And it was kind of like, almost like a gambling kind of lottery thing that people, you could see it in their eyes. They got that fever. And boy, I'm telling you what, this one group of nuns would not leave us be. They wouldn't buy anything, but they just kept coming back and saying, "Give me some more of those keys." That's what I finally had to toss them because they just kept wanting to win whatever was there. And it, kind of backfired because they kept crowding everybody out because they wanted to win whatever was in the treasure chest. But you know, you run into things like that at conferences, which are really fun. Anybody that has a chance to send headline books, anything, they do a great job providing conferences, places to sell your book, things to do. Uh, you know, I could probably, well, before the virus, I could probably be doing something at least monthly, maybe even every couple of weeks, going someplace. And my schedule just doesn't allow that now. But you know, hopefully, when things get back to normal and I retire or whatever happens, that I would be doing that a lot more. Because you know, I like you're around other authors, you're around the public, and it's just a great atmosphere.
Yes, and especially we know when Headline Books does shows, they have several of their authors there, and it does become like a family, which is something that's really nice. It's kind of like reunions, and it's always fun to surround your people, to surround you, surround yourself with people of a like mind. So in this case, you know, other writers, and you know, you can bounce ideas off of each other, and you can have brainstorm sessions without even realize that's what you're doing. But again, just being able to share your book with the public is nice, and especially children's books, because you know it's so much fun when you get a kid really interested in your story, and
Mhm.
you know you can see that little spark is great.
Well, that's what you know, there have been a lot of times where I know kids tend to want everything that they see it on the first thing, but I mean, there's a lot of times the kids will come by and want a book, and their parents just either won't do it or they can't do it, and just you hate to see that. I mean, we growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of money, but I don't remember ever being told I couldn't have a book, you know.
Yeah.
So it kind of surprises me sometimes some of the things you see, but
Yeah, and I know that you know, you are based out of West Virginia, and there's a lot of nonprofits
mhm.
that, you know, supply, you know, a lot of literary based nonprofits, and that's a, you know, for anybody listening, that's a really good thing to get involved with. Especially now, you know, buying books from bookstores or, you know, wherever you buy your books is super important right now to try to keep those, especially like the smaller stores, afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know we all do have to band together right now to do what we can. But yeah, nonprofits are a wonderful way that West Virginia, you know, helps boost its literacy, because West Virginia is a state of readers.
Yeah, we are. We really are. And well, at the West Virginia Book Festival, they have a used book sale, and people just come with shopping carts and just fill them up with
Oh,
books.
I know. I know. It's just incredible. And it's lovely to see that, because there is such, you know, passion for reading there, which it's just wonderful to see.
Well, and several times, you know, it's good to see too, um, that they'll have authors there. Sometimes you'll know them really well. Sometimes you'll never heard of them. But people flock, you know, in West Virginia, they flock to see those guys, and they treat them like rock stars.
Oh, they are. They really are. Yeah. So I know that I have some inside information, but I happen to know that there is something else in the works right now that you're doing. So can you want to talk a little bit about your next project?
Sure. Well, the one that's coming up, I've been working on one for about 4 or 5 years, and I just can't get it right. I've got pictures and drawings, but I just, like you said, the way the character evolves and the way it looks, and not just, you know, you just don't want to have a character with its face facing you all the time. You know, you have to have different angles and that. So I've been working on that, but I started on another one, and it's about an alien, and he's on this planet all by himself, and I've got the pictures, and what means a lot to me is that you've looked at some of the pictures, and I get your approval because I know you're the person to look at and say, well, if she says it's good, then it's good. But I've been working with this guy. His name's Travis Graham, and he has put he's put everything into the backgrounds of this book. And so I did the story and the pictures. He's done all the backgrounds. He's really brought everything to life. I mean, he's brought the colors. It kind of gives you, you know, as you know, the colors set the emotion for the whole book,
They do.
and that's what he's kind of done. And I'm really really excited about it. And I think he's almost ready to give it to the publisher and see what she thinks of it.
Excellent. Yeah, it's always fun to collaborate and bounce ideas. So we do have some pictures that you just sent. Would you like to show those?
Sure, that would be a great time to.
Awesome. All right, so here's the first one. So if you just want to chat a little bit about like you said, the collaboration process, I think that would be great because that's really interesting.
Okay, yeah. He he does a lot of this kind of thing for me in the fact that I draw my own Valentine's Day cards for my class. We do a really big Christmas card every year, and he's a lot of the creative force behind that. I usually have an idea, and he'll say, and I'll have an idea what it should look like, and then he does the work. I mean, he's just been so great with that. Um, but this one, I was drawing this character for the Valentine's Day cards for my kids, and it looked so great. So I decided to do a story around it. So it's about this alien who's by himself on this whole planet. He doesn't know how he got there. He doesn't know why he's there. So his only friend is an inanimate object, which is this rock. Okay, so he does everything through the rock. I mean, it's his friend. It's kind of his conscience. They just do everything together. The friend is low maintenance.
It definitely seems like it. It's like the ultimate pet rock story.
And well, you know, it kind of now it turns halfway through the story. It turns. This is where he takes the rock everywhere with him. He likes to explore around. He at this point he loses control of the rock. He drops it, and it becomes really the first Rolling Stone. So I tried to do a lot of humor through that. They go to the, you know, on off days they're at the beach, and Rock doesn't complain about the anything. So he doesn't use up all the sunscreen. He doesn't take all the towels.
See, there are advantages, and I do want to point out these fantastic sunglasses here. We got some shades on the Rock. That's pretty special right there.
Well, that's when one time where they try to go swimming. He tries to teach Stoney's right now. The book is called Coco and Stoney. So Coco's the alien, Stoney's the rock. He tries to teach him to swim, but as you can see, he sinks like a.
All right, and we can talk about this next one.
Okay, that's where we at Headline Books never really get to judge or pick our book cover. But I kind of like that as a book cover. The publisher picks the book cover. She always does a really good job. But to me, that kind of symbolizes, you know, there they are on this beautiful planet, just together, just relaxed. You can see the Coco's kind of telling him the story, and Stoney's listening indifferently.
That's great. All right. Well, Don, it is so exciting that you are doing a second book. And again, we love having you at Headline Books. You are fantastic. And again, we always appreciate you coming in for an interview.
Oh, you know, I did not want to do it at first because that's not used to
I
this
know.
kind of thing. But, you know, with the persistence of Kathy and,
yes.
and your help right here, it's been a really pleasurable experience. And then, you know, I said I'd do it. And then she said, okay, we're going to do 3. I don't have that many words to talk about, but you know, you made it really easy.
Well, I'm so glad. And again, anybody who would like any of Don's books, we have been chatting with Don Stansberry here on Zoom Into Books. And if you would like to get copies of his novels, middle grade, or picture books, you could visit headlinebooks.com. And we hope, Don, that you will be back to do another Zoom Into Books presentation when your new book comes out.
Oh, I would love to. And I would like to tell Kathy safe travels and make sure Patty's doing well, and where she's in our thoughts all the time, just laughing. We're just laughing every time we think about her.
I think she will so appreciate that.
Joe, I hang off the word of every one of her fascinating stories.
Oh, that's great. Me too.
Yeah.
She needs to write some books.
I keep telling her.
I know. Well, again, we've been chatting with Don Stansberry here on Zoom Into Books. If you missed any of the presentation, you can rewatch it here on Facebook or on the Zoom Into Books YouTube channel. So once again, we've been chatting with Don. Thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.